It's been 15 years since our sophomore year of high school. And I have not spent the time in those 15 years figuring out a way to not get my headphones tangled. And I just spent probably 40 minutes untangling them to do this episode. So,
oh my God.
Where does that leave me now? I couldn't tell you. Doing an emo podcast.
It leaves you needing to upgrade to Bluetooth headphones, Pat.
Yeah. I'm not a tech head like Tom.
Yep. Takes a tech head to buy some wireless headphones. Either way, man, couldn't have thought of a better, I don't know, time portal to 2006. You got those white Apple earbuds hopelessly tangled in your pocket, almost to the point of just giving up and not listening to music that day. So I feel your pain, man. And yeah, let's take it back to 2006. What is going on, everybody? I'm Tom.
And I'm Pat.
We're best friends, and you're listening to the Reminiscent Podcast. So, yeah, set the scene. What was going on in 2006? What were we doing? What was the band doing? What was going on?
I think what was going on was badness, I guess. Things were bad. And stayed that way, seemingly, or at least internally. Couldn't figure out a way to turn it around. So I just listened to the same records over and over for the next 2 decades. I don't know, trying out new types of shoes, trying to find yourself, wearing shirts, wearing fucking clothes and stuff, never quite finding it or feeling it. You know, not making a ton of progress in the finding yourself department. But the bands we liked were coming out with new records, so that was a way to pass the time, I suppose.
Yeah, this is sophomore year of high school. It has been a full 15 years since then, which is insanity to say out loud or even think quietly to myself. I think at this point, I was kind of like transitioning from skater kid or like poser skater kid into like poser scene kid. My pants were probably still below the knee cargo shorts. My hair was at its worst. I was probably the most awkward I've ever been in my life. Although I feel like every time I talk to a stranger, I taught myself every time. Just a real weird year. But the shining light through all of it was I was in this photography class with one of my bigger music Sherpas. His name was Cameron. We were like developing film in the basement of the school. Mr. Taylor would have been teaching the class, who somehow would end up as the AP psychology teacher later on. But we were like in the dark room developing photos and transfers and stuff. And he was like, "You ever heard of Norma Jean?" And it just totally fucking blew me away. Like, this is the year that I learned about post-hardcore and got really into metalcore. And some of the best songs ever recorded were laid down this year, and I'm worried about, I don't know. I feel like there's, for the show, for the draft, there's going to be more competition probably than there ever has been, and I am worried about how to take this thing. But I don't know. There's so much up for grabs, so many huge things that it would be a nightmare to live without.
Yes. So we got dice.
Oh, we got dice, Pat.
We have them. They've been acquired and they're with us.
Yeah, let's okay, we'll do a roll. Are you taking evens or odds?
This would have been an odd. I think like I would have been choosing odd if I'm trying to think of what headspace I would have been in as a sophomore. Wishing on eyelashes that fell out of my face and stuff, and being oddly spiritual about it. Just convinced I could feel what was coming next. But of course, that was not the case. But I would have been picked odds and then like felt like the universe was going to be in my favor and really like still pretty hopeful in that way.
Okay. So, all right, let's do it. Got a set of dice. Shake them up. See what the universe holds for you. And we have a 3 and a 5. So it's even. And this is my worst nightmare because what if I make the wrong choice?
What if you make the right choice? Even scarier.
So be careful what you wish for. I have some like the first 4 picks that I have are huge ones, and I don't know if going second and third is actually the better move, but I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to risk the first pick in order to get 2 very important ones down.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about it, and I want to stay true to this song that would have meant the most to me at the time. And I'm going to go with Lazy Eye by the Silver Sun Pickups.
What?
Yes. yes. I feel good about it. I feel great about it. Young me would have just learned about this band because of Marie in Yearbook. She had a Homestar Runner over-the-shoulder backpack, which yes. I'm sure no more than like a few dozen people in America had ordered at the time. Right. So pretty hip stuff, very intimidating.
She was the coolest, for sure.
Yeah, in an unfair way. And this whole album was really good. There's probably 3 songs I'd pick in the first 3 rounds of this draft because I really just dug into it and really enjoyed it. But yeah, Lazy Eye was one of those songs that a few notes in, you kind of immediately know you're into it. And then it's one of those songs also that has like one of the most fruitful back third payoffs of any song I've ever heard in my life. I like it a whole lot. It's probably comfortably in my top 50 all time. Just amount of plays, time and place, and just quality of like the art, in my opinion. I think the Silver Sun Pickups freaking rule. I've told the anecdote on the show before about Swoon came out a few years later, and we used to confiscate or take back some of the get out of class notepads from the school office, the ones that only the ones we felt were rightfully ours, and use them to get each other out to get into shenanigans in the school.
Just take it back where they owed you.
Right. Well, I mean, hey, it's for the people, really. But one of the most ill-advised ventures was getting someone out of class early just to give me the burned copy of Swoon so I could listen to it like 40 minutes sooner. It was a waste of pretty much everyone's time because that person didn't have anything to do. They would like planned to be in class. They were like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, I can't just go back. It's like, yeah, this was not a good move on my part, but thank you for the CD. And you can do whatever you want with these 40 minutes. It's like, yeah, I know. I wanted to be in class. It was actually, it's like, I'm sorry, but thank you for Swoon. Okay. I'm going to go listen to Swoon. Okay. I'm sorry. Bye.
Oh my God.
But yeah, Lazy Eye. You don't love that band, but I feel like it was going to be tough either way. And I don't really want to go tit for tat today. So I'm just going to take the song that I know my teen self would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
No, it's not that I don't like them. I couldn't name a single song. I couldn't hum a single melody. Not only have I never heard you talk about Silver Sun Pickups, I've never heard anyone in the world talk about this band. Obviously, they're not nobodies, but
well, it's kind of like,
it's surprising.
If you're hanging out with somebody, I imagine it'd be a pretty rare situation where like, you're like, oh, I'm going to turn on Little Lover's So Polite, and the two of us will just vibe. I don't know. It's definitely like a by yourself record, I might argue. Maybe Swoon not so much because it rocks a little harder, but like I don't think it's like a joy with another person band necessarily. I don't know if that's too drastic of a take, but yeah, I would feel comfortable saying like, yeah, I probably have not enjoyed Lazy Eye with others. Now I'm sure people who have seen them live have done that thousands of times over, but yeah, I am not surprised we never like bumped Well Thought Out Twinkles together, for example. So
gotcha,
anyway,
okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay true to it, and yeah, that's my one pick because I know 2-3 there's so many mammoths on the board. I'm just gonna see how the day plays out. I'm pulling eyelashes out of my face, blowing them in to the cold eerie wind, and hoping for a dub.
Well, I'm gonna go for the song that you might sing out loud with someone. Louder Now came out in 2006 and just, I don't know, blew me away. Like, this is a front to backer, and the big single, Make Damn Sure, is just one of the best songs ever written. Like, I was just kind of learning how to play guitar in 2006, so the riff was approachable. The chorus is incredible. We saw them live and they like built it up for so long. They did this whole like kind of speech thing for it. And I remember Fred was like just kind of plucking a G. He was plucking a G note on the lower string there. And Adam turns to me and goes, "It's Make Damn Sure it's in G. It's one of their only songs in G or something." And I was like, oh shit, like just knew what they were building up to. And like, we talked about Adam and Fuse playing on it at his house all the time just a couple weeks ago or so. And this is like a song that is burned in my memory of the first time I saw the music video, which is a great music video, by the way. I will hear no other opinions on that.
I'll only give you one, and that is to say that it's bad. But the song's great. It's tremendous. It's a great pick.
I think
it's a tremendous pick.
I think when we did the music video episode years ago, it was like Taking Back Sunday in a refrigerator, but with stock footage or something.
Yeah.
Just
the stock footage
nice.
thing, it didn't sing for me the way other videos have. That's all.
Gotcha.
I'm not, yeah.
Well, anyway.
I wouldn't say I think about it daily. Like, I'm not angered perpetually by it, but I just think it's not so good. But the music's so good. It's like all is forgiven.
Well, like I mean, two things. I think of Adam's mom just got a Dyson vacuum, which of course sucks with 2 times the force of gravity. And I just remember like being at Adam's, which was kind of a treat. We were never at his house really that much. Make Damn Sure is playing. I'm vacuuming his living room and playing with his brother Jakey. Just, I don't know, like a really good vibe. Like that's one of the thoughts, but also like if we talk about a song that just defined a very unique, like special small moment in time, it is Make Damn Sure. And I don't have many memories of senior year. For some reason, my brain like totally blocked them out. I have a lot of memories of junior and senior year, but I do specifically remember a sleepover at your house with a bunch of people. Actually, that was the night we played Toy Story on PS1 until like 6 a.m. and just listened to Louder Now and fucking vibed, man. Like, it was so good. And I don't know. It's the obvious one. I fear I always pick the obvious ones, but I could not pick this for number one.
No, it's the right pick. It's the right pick. But
Thanks,
you know what else
bud.
sucks with 2 times the force of gravity?
The music video.
Yeah. You just said it, and I've been pondering how to respond to the use of that phrase on the show. I guess we'll just let it go.
Oh, I thought it was either going to be your mom or the music video.
I don't know. It felt like somebody needed to address it. I don't even want to finish it, but I just need to know it's been acknowledged. I don't know.
Okay. Well, number 2, this is a very, very special song to me. It's a song that like I relate to hanging out with Zach just all the time. There was a summer where We Don't Need to Whisper leaked. The first 3 songs, it would have been like The Adventure, Do It For Me Now, and maybe Valkyrie Missile or something. And I had this like tiny pair of like 2-watt speakers that you plug into the blue 4 gig iPod mini. And I just listened to those 3 songs on repeat for like maybe 6 months. And I fell asleep to them every night. And Do It For Me Now is like, I don't even know like what to say about it. Someone asked in a Patreon AMA a while ago, like, what's the first thing you notice about a song? And it's like the way it makes my head move. And this one, it just like wants to snap off the fucking vertebrae. Like that first snare hit, the whack, boom, 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 ga, ba, ba. Oh my God, dude. It's so good. Tom's like kind of like doing this half rapping thing that they just put out a new song recently that has a really killer part to it. That's a little bit similar. I don't know. It's so dreamy. It was one of the first songs I ever heard of Angels and Airwaves. And that is like one of my favorite albums of all time. Top 10, hands down. So it reminds me of just hanging out at Zach's in the summer, sitting on the floor of his neighbor's house, weirdly, watching the music video. And just, I don't know, man, it felt like that year Zach got this album and a PA system for Christmas. So our band had a PA system to practice in. And it was just like, I don't know, so much. I feel like the tone of this album just like invites you to like explore like the ethereal space between the world you live in and where your mind is or something. And it's just like, there was a bit of that. There was the freedom of what we were doing with the band. It just hit at the right fucking time.
Yeah, and he hadn't been Spacey Tom for, he's been Spacey Tom for like 15 years now, but this was all new. Yeah, so it was exciting. And I hated it at first when the adventure leaked, and my girlfriend's cousin from a different state was like, give it a second chance, man. And I did, and I don't know where I'd be if I didn't love this album the way that I do. Yeah, it's a good pick, and I think it's the right pick because you could have gone any direction because there's probably 8 songs on the album you could have picked.
It's a front to back again. Yeah. Damn, dude, what a year. 2006 was nuts. I have maybe 30 songs in this list, so I think we might, if time allows, try to go 10 deep, and I have like 20 honorable mentions. So anyway, pick 2.
Yes, I'm going to go with No It Isn't by Plus 44 and go a little bit on the opposite end of the Blink tree. I was very in the like early internet blogosphere trying to find out what happened to Blink-182. And there was a version of this song that leaked early. I don't think there was like the full Plus 44 record out or anything. And there was like an original version that I liked better. But it ended up on that Plus 44 album that came out in 2006, so I'm going to pick it. But it was very like autobiographical, kind of for the first time. Like no one really knew what was happening, or at least there wasn't Twitter, wasn't anything like that. So
right.
You kind of listen to the lyrics pretty closely to see how each band member felt about what was going on. And at the time, I was pretty team Mark. I don't think I'm like team anybody at the moment because they just recorded a podcast, I think, now that Mark's sick. And it looks like the chemo's working, which is great. And but everyone's hopefully going to be healthier soon and everything like that. But at the time, it was like, you were listening to deep tracks on that AVA record, trying to get Tom's perspective, the one with the children's piano, and listening to No It Isn't and just trying to get to the bottom of it. But also, No It Isn't is a very... it might be the best song Mark Hoppus has ever written. I don't know. It's very dear to me. But it's also one of those songs that is not like kind of don't play with fire type thing. Like takes you to a place almost. But it's very good. And in 2006, I would have probably listened to it 14 million times.
I do remember the room upstairs in my mom's house on the west side where we were all just kind of hanging out in my room listening to music, and you're like, oh guys, put on No It Isn't. The song is great. And it's just like the vibe changed, but it is a really beautiful song. I don't think I really have ever heard Mark be that like sing-songy, and I can't say that I know much of that album, but I do know that song only because you insisting that we listen to it often. Really beautiful. And it is interesting to think like back at that time, you couldn't just get on Twitter and know everything about everyone's life. You had to like interpret what they were saying through certain songs that come out, years after each other.
It was almost like a little promotional website, if memory serves. Like, hey, Plus 44 is a band now. Mark and Travis are in it, and this is a song they recorded. And the website just lived to let the world know that much information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like you couldn't even download it. You just had to visit the site and hit play on one of those early media players.
Wow.
I think that's my brain probably taking a bunch of leaps, but I think it was pretty close to that being the truth.
Nice.
Anyway, I'll pick that. And to stay with the spirit of like 2006 not being a year where apparently I was listening to much music with others, I'll go Famous Last Words by My Chemical Romance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we're in the Black Parade year as well. deep into the sophomore year. I don't know if this is bike rides or runs or what, but a lot of these songs weren't like the party playlist for sure. But I remember Cameron Wazorek, who introduced you to Norma Jean, as you mentioned. This came out, and I don't know if he just had a better LimeWire situation than us or something, but he always came to school with stuff to listen to.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to him and then hearing the end of that song and looking at each other like, whoa, oh my God. Can we listen to it again immediately? And we did several times. I don't know if it's the best song in the album, but it might be my favorite. At the time it was anyway, for sure. I almost listened to it so much I forgot it was on an album and even attached to the song Welcome to the Black Parade, like in the LimeWire era. I don't think I got my hands on the full album for like a little while later. So I didn't even connect the two in my head. especially working at the Gandon radio station the summer following freshman year of high school. Sometimes I would just catch songs here and there without like really knowing the full story behind them. But really good, man. There's probably 6 songs on that record you could say that about, but I think I'll take the first off the board from Welcome to the Black Parade would be Famous Last Words, if I had to say, in my eyes.
Nice. Yeah, we wanted to do the music video for that in Welcome to the Black Parade back to back. Not sure there's enough there in terms of music video, but the song is so sick, dude. Oh my God. What were they on that year? That album is absolutely incredible.
I don't know. The decision to cut his hair and bleach it was about as drastic of a move. Right. But you can only do it if you're going to pull it off. And they did. Yeah. So,
oh, man.
Everything about it was very exciting, from the hair choices to everything. It was just like, I don't know if emo was changing or what, but Gerard Way had new hair, and it was like, I guess we're sophomores now. Like every year there was a new thing to keep track of. I don't know.
Yeah. One of my, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, they were on one, and it worked at every turn. Okay, well, let's see. I've got 3 and 4. Not my absolute favorite album of theirs, but the song Jesus Christ by Brand New is, okay, so this is the year that I think we probably started to do the band more than we had ever done it. And Adam was the world's biggest Brand New fan. He came over to our house, had us listen to the song. He already knew how to play it. We kind of jammed it a little bit. But do you remember that weekend where we stayed at my dad's house?
Yes.
So, yeah, I saw my dad every other weekend, and I never really like brought friends over because like my time with my dad was so sacred. But every summer we would stay 2 weeks, and he was like, "Hey, how about your band, comes over for a weekend? You can set up all your instruments in the barn and play as loud as you want. There's like no one for miles, And he made this like stage that my drums were on. We brought the PA system, and I remember just kind of jamming. We found a lot of my brother's old like Maxim magazines in the corner of the this barn, and just like stayed up all night playing video games, playing music, drinking Mountain Dew. And when we were probably up till like 3 or 4 in the morning because bats kept flying over our head, and we were having a really hard time sleeping. And Zach was telling alien abduction stories, and it was like a pretty gnarly night. But I remember my dad waking us up really early because my stepsister Sharon stopped by, and he was like, "You want to play a song?" And I think we just like played Jesus Christ. And Zach had woken up 5 minutes earlier, so his voice was kind of struggling. But I don't know. I think it was the first time. I don't know. It just felt very special. Like, I don't know. I think that just adds to obviously how fucking outstanding this song is. We struggle to talk about Brand New a lot of the time for unfortunate and obvious reasons, but this song, couldn't skip it on year 2006. I apologize. But while we're kind of down in the depths there with the vibe, let's start there, but then we'll bring it up halfway through. This was actually my second round draft pick, and then I panicked. I'm going to go with Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Sure.
Again, a lot of these songs. So 2006, I was like just discovering music from 2003 and 2004. It wasn't really until 2007, our junior year, that I was discovering a lot of these songs from 2006. And Welcome to the Black Parade was on the radio all the time. And I remember being really pissed that they like shortened the intro, and they shortened, I don't know, one of the bridges or something. But I remember being in a ceramics 2 class, and I would have been making this box that was like the title screen from Super Mario across the whole box. And the lid was Mario jumping with his one knee in the air, his one arm up, and looking over at this really cute girl that happened to be in the class as we were all kind of vibing to Welcome to Black Parade. that cute girl was Hannah a year before we started dating, and saying I liked the box that she was making. And I don't know, man. There's just like, I mean, everyone loved the song. Everyone sang in the hallways. It is the most dramatic, anthemic emo anthem that's ever been recorded. And it's just so good. How could you not pick this song? I'm sorry, Gerard Way, the singer of My Chemical Romance. I should have picked this probably out of the gate, but I'm gonna make up for it now. Welcome to the Black Parade.
It's a good pick. It's the right pick. Yeah, when you look at 06, when you first start doing the research for the episode that week, it's kind of like, we're going to have to come to terms with that one this week and try not to pick the entire album.
Alrighty, so you have picks 4 and 5.
Okay, let's see what we got. What's left on the board? What direction shall we go? Give me Jay-Z Ray by All Time Low.
Oh, wait, what?
Yes, I believe Put Up or Shut Up came out in 2006.
Damn it. That's so good.
It is just such a tremendous thing, and I was so shocked years later to see them live in Pittsburgh opening up for, I think they and Day to Remember were opening up for Blink-182 in 2016. They didn't play it. I was really surprised because I always thought this was their runaway hit from their early career, but perhaps I'm wrong. It's Dear Maria, I guess. I know now from doing this show. But I really liked it. It was they did Punko's acoustic version of it.
Yeah,
I had both on my iPod.
Oh, for
both
sure.
Both made several playlists. They were different enough to be interesting to me, like for years. Toe Tapper, both are toe tappers. I don't know. It was just like every version of this song and every version of every song by this band for like a little window of time. I just wanted to eat up with a knife and a fork and chew on and ponder and think about and consume. So I guess despite being kind of shocked, I mean, obviously Dear Maria, for obvious reasons, is kind of what people TikTok nowadays and kind of add to the emo lore. But I would have, like, Jay-Z Ray would have been my Dogecoin. Like, I would have put so much into it at the time. Like, I'm so sure this is going to be like the new emo currency in 20 years. I would have been wrong. I should have put my money on Dear Maria. But yeah, Jay-Z Ray was there for me for many, many hours, I would say. Like, too many hours, I think, of just that song. How many listens in my life I've heard it. So that'll be my pick.
It's incredible.
Tom and I are big Put Up or Shut Up fans, I guess. If you listen to the show, you know this. And it took us like some convincing to even entertain that they did music after that. Of course they did, and they're still making good music, which we have learned and come to terms with. People have tweeted at us and say, you're too hard on All Time Low, and you're right. So, but I think it just speaks to how much it's not, I think we're acknowledging they are great, but we just love that first EP so much, like kind of like in an illogical way.
I have this weird memory of, there was like a year where I didn't do Ski Club because I couldn't afford it, but there was like a week that Cameron and Seth convinced me to go with them. So they snuck me on to the Ski Club bus, which was like probably an hour and 15-minute drive to the resort. And I sat on the toilet so that when they counted everyone's heads, they wouldn't see one extra person. And I remember listening to Jay-Z Ray in the Ski Club bus bathroom. And I don't know how, but there was like a picture of Alex Gaskarth. I don't know where it wasn't on my iPod. I'm not really sure, but I remember being like, that man is beautiful. Like, just sitting on a toilet on a bus looking at Alex Gaskarth.
Title of your memoir right there.
Anyway, that's such a killer song. Oh my God. Whew. Good pick.
Thank you. Let's see. Keep it moving along here. Oh man. Let's go real out of let's lay one of these down. Your Guardian Angel by the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus.
You.
You know, I've been pondering doing a music video episode on this for a while, just because of how redonkulously emo this whole band's essence was. Yeah. I don't know if I have a ton to say. I might just let you talk about it, but it's not, don't pretend like it wasn't coming out of your headphones on 2006.
Oh my God,
this
dude.
and Face Down, they came in hot, and we haven't really even spent much time on the Jumpsuit. Nobody called them that, actually, but we have not spent a ton of time talking about that band really at all.
Yeah, this song is incredible.
It was almost like someone wrote a song to make fun of emo kids in 2006, like this is how over the top it was. But then the emo kids in 2006 didn't get the joke and just enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly
really the best way to describe my fandom for this song, because I don't listen to it anymore, but at the time I did very much listen to it. So
oh my God,
I'll pick it just to yeah, I'll pick it. But yeah, I don't know the history of the band, or they fell off my radar in a big way. So
yeah.
But just through the frame of just like knowing about it in 2006 and then never thinking about it again for like 2 full decades. I don't know. The show's called Reminiscent, so that's the pick. And moving on.
Nice. I'll keep it a little low on emo for a bit. So this is another instance of a song, or an album for that matter, where the first time I listened to it, I did not dig it. This would have been Adam who introduced me to the record. I very specifically remember the bedroom upstairs listening to the album. Kind of like whatever. And he just like begged me to reconsider. Again, so glad I did. But the song Liars and Battle Lines by Rookie of the Year off the Goodnight Moon is just so phenomenal. There's like this energy that Rookie of the Year puts out that I haven't been able to find in any other band since. They're still putting out stuff. They're putting out a new record soon. Ryan's actually going to come on the show and talk about it, so I'm pretty stoked. But yeah, The Goodnight Moon is like one of my top 10 albums. And Liars and Battle Lines, it is just, it takes me away, man. It puts me into a different plane of existence. And I don't know, 2006 was like a good year for that, because we also had, Do It For Me Now, just like totally sweeping me off my feet. And this is probably one of my most listened to songs of all of high school.
I'm surprised to hear that you needed some convincing, just because I know this to be one of your, I guess, favorite albums ever. I mean, no hyperbole. That's just the case as far as I understand it, right?
Well, again, I was like just coming into post-hardcore at the time, and I feel like there have been eras of my music listening existence where albums just came at the wrong time for me, and there was no one there to beg me to reconsider. So I'm really glad that he did, because I was like listening to, I guess, more different stuff at this point. But yeah, just so good, man. Just, oh man, this album is amazing. But let's bring the energy way the back up, because Set Your Goals comes out with the title track of their album Mutiny. And I'm really glad that I convinced you to let me do this episode, because I, full disclosure, was not listening to Set Your Goals until about 2009. I actually had no idea this album came out this year. I thought it came out in 2008. Just a really fun song about being an underdog and in this vast network of sharks and minnows, where the minnows outnumber the sharks 1,000,000 to 1. Just like that whole like manifesto in the middle of the song is so sick. And like, I have memories of driving my mom's car from Pennsylvania to Virginia to visit Hannah at college, and I was at that weird skate park where the guy was tattooing himself with a prison tattoo gun made of a Play-Doh can and a pen. So lots of memories attached to this album, and it just gets me fucking pumped, dude. This whole album's great. But yeah, the song Mutiny by Set Your Goals, that was such a fun episode to do. I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, we should just read the bridge lyrics at the start of every episode, like Salute Your Shorts or something.
To get us hyped.
Like, make it be part of the routine. I don't think anyone would have any problems with that, to be honest.
This is us growing up, still young, but no longer impressionable.
Yeah, man. Great title track too.
Oh God, yeah. All
Great
right.
use of exclamation points. Like,
I know.
the most appropriate use of an exclamation point I've ever seen in my life, I feel comfortable saying.
Really? More than, okay, which one? Mutiny or riot?
I'm going to say mutiny,
Oh.
and I'm including like any literature also. Not just music titles. Like, it's a really good use of an exclamation point.
It's great.
And it's a really appropriate use of it. Like, I don't know, I'm just like, shout out to their understanding of what exclamation points add to phrases. It's fucking on the mark, man, on point.
Yeah.
It's
You Panic at the Disco.
that Twitter account, emote at the location, kills me.
We'll put that in the show notes too.
It's the really good robot Twitter account. Probably one of the better ones I've seen in the last like 7 years.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Before I thank our Patreon supporters, I want to shout out the last few people that got in the 2021 surveys. We have Patrick Madonna, Josh, Nomi16, Dane Moody, and Nathan Eshelman. Thank you so much for filling out the form. We actually got 30 responses. I was thinking if we got 12, it would be a success. We have a lot of stuff to go over. And thank you so much to everyone who filled those out. We're going to be drawing the prizes shortly. But let's talk about the Patreon. In our top tier Council of Elders, we have Andre Prevost, Johnny Leftwich, Jason Carey, Anonymous, Chris Lukey, Nathan Eshelman, and Drew Edwards. If you'd like to check out the Patreon and support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/reminiscent. We offer 3 different tiers: the Emo Kid, Emo Veteran, and Emo Elder. So there's a few different ways to support the show if you so choose, although no pressure. In the Patreon, though, if you haven't heard yet, we do a weekly post show, an extra 10 to 15 minutes between Pat and myself, behind the scenes photos and videos, of which there will be more coming soon. We're doing a live video AMA today, the day this episode is being released, and we're still rolling out some super secret projects as we speak. Thank you all so much for supporting the show. Again, that link is patreon.com/reminiscent, but either way, we are just so happy that you're here and listening to the show. Back to the episode. Are we going 10 deep? I feel like we've got time for it. We might as well do it.
I was going to leave it up to you. Am I going next?
Yeah, you're going 6 and 7.
6 and 7. This is the meat. This is the meat and potatoes of the draft, so you don't want to get too crazy. I definitely just burned a pick with Your Guardian Angel. A little fanfare there, but that might be the only time we ever mentioned Red Jumpsuit Apparatus on the show, I'm learning. So, which is fine. I don't give a about Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, but whatever. Here's where I'll go with it. I got to pick When You Were Young by the Killers. I know I could have gotten away with it pretty late because I know you don't love the Killers, but Sam's Town came out and it was just like nice to know that they were going to hang around for a few albums after Hot Fuss. As a fan, it was just like, thank God, like fucking nice. I don't know. It was on Rock Band, if memory serves, and everything like that, or Guitar Hero, one of the two. The lyrics were like grown up and cool, at least through the eyes of a high school sophomore. It's just like, wow, I wonder what the world is like. You know what I mean? I was like, oh shit. I don't know. And it rocks, but not in like a super crabcore way, like clean guitar, just like rock and roll rock, which I'm not saying it's like better or anything. It's just at the time, it was just like, dang, Brandon Flowers shaves every day and still manages to blow my socks off, knock my socks off. Obviously, Welcome to the Black Parade was knocking my socks off in a very different way, but it was just when Sam's Town came out and When You Were Young hit, it was still very fucking exhilarating, but just in a very different way. And it was cool to know that more than one sound could do that, I guess, as a teen. Yeah, there's a few different songs, and I guess I'll wait till the honorable mentions to mention which other ones off this album I really, really liked and fell into. But yeah, it's hard not to feel pretty, if we're turning the energy of the episode around in terms of what we're listening to on this playlist. When You Were Young has to be on there in terms of rocking out. That coming after Mutiny, those are some pretty feeling good times after we spent some time in the doldrums there for about 40 minutes.
For sure. Nice.
Let's see though how much time we spend having a good time before going right back down. No, give me Naive by the Kooks. We have flirted with doing a UK month that I know is not going to happen, but it's like a fun thought. The Kooks were kind of more important than the Kaiser Chiefs, but less important at the time to me personally than like Arctic Monkeys or Oasis or whatever. But I might argue that like I've spent more time listening to the Kooks than all of those bands collectively, if I had to like really think about it. She Moves in Her Own Way and Always Where I Need to Be. Those 3 songs have just an insane amount of hours spent being sent into my brain. Naive was like the closing credits song on like 1,000 rom-coms between 2006 and 2008, I'm pretty sure. So it's like palatable, but still has street cred, I guess, if that is an all right thing to say. Yeah, I was really into the Kooks for a minute there. I don't know, it wasn't exactly a UK invasion because they arrived in like a while ago. But yeah, I don't know, in the 2000s, the Kooks, I would argue, got overlooked a little bit. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were appropriately rated, but I think they have like 3 all-timer songs, which is more than like, that's a higher number than like maybe they get credit for having. I don't know. Like if there are 3 Oasis documentaries out there, then I'd argue there should be only 2, and then like I'd watch one about the Kooks, is all I'm saying. I'm like, some of the time should be spent thinking about the Kooks. That's it. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just saying like some of the discourse should involve the Kooks because I like them. And that's my pick.
Dope. Okay. Don't know it. Can't say that I do. God, you know, it's interesting. We kind of talked about like mowing lawns as a potential draft. And what I'm realizing is if there was a lawn mowing draft, I would just be repicking all of my 2006 drafts. I guess that's what I was mowing the most lawns. But Yellow Card came out with an album called Lights and Sounds. And another, with the exception of maybe one song, I think it's a front to backer. Yellow Card knows how to write a fucking record. And I really struggled because there's 3 songs that I really wanted to be on this list. It could have been any of them. I basically flipped a coin, a 3-sided coin, and it landed on Sure Things Falling, again by Yellow Card off of their album Lights and Sounds. It was a really fun idea to have like, they have like a chorus part 1 and then it drops into this like post-chorus thing where they kind of repeat the "Oh Sure Things Fall." I don't know, man. It's just a really good like half-timey kind of vibe. And I think I'm realizing that, I mean, this shouldn't be surprising to anyone, but the songs that I feel like the warmest about usually deal with some sense of freedom at the time. And I think this is when I was like probably working at Valerio's, if I remember that correctly. It was like this local Italian food chain where I was washing dishes and bussing tables. So I was making a little bit of money working 5 hours a week or whatever. And I was mowing a few lawns and I had like some walking around money as like a 16-year-old or something. And that was amazing. I rode this bike all over town. I had a little bit of money to spend. I was buying Monster Energy drinks, staying up all night, playing probably Ocarina of Time for the 9th time. And this, I don't know, there's like a lot of yard work that's associated with this record and making money and feeling for the first time some sense of true independence in terms of money and transportation, just kind of being able to do my thing. And it's great. The song is killer. The album's great. Yellow Card, love them. Couldn't complain.
Yeah, I never went past Ocean Avenue. I'm not saying I'm correct.
Bro.
That's just not where I went.
Oh my
I remember
gosh.
a song off this album being in like a commercial for, I don't think it was Gatorade, but there was a youth hockey player getting pumped up for a scrimmage or something in the commercial, and Yellow Card was in it. I was like, oh wow, emo's gone a little commercial. Even then I was like, this is pretty out there for an emo band. But I was like, oh, good for Yellow Card. But yeah, no, I didn't see the commercial and be like, oh, Yellow Card came out with new music, I should listen to it. For some reason, I just didn't. And I really can't explain why. And I'm jealous because you got like a ton of hours of enjoyment out of them.
Well, you know what's interesting? So Aaron Lonke, who we talk about on the show a lot, just like God's gift to mankind, he is just one of the greatest human beings ever created. He lived 2 blocks from me, and we like did not hang out as much as we should have. And I remember the first time I ever went over to his house, he just like sat me down in his room and was like, bro, you've got to listen to more Yellow Card. Like it was like a sermon for Ryan Key. And, you know, I admitted that I hadn't heard much past Ocean Avenue, and he just like, I think he might have on the spot burned me Lights and Sounds. And then later on he gave me Paper Walls, which is like, again, a front to back fucking album. And I am so grateful for that dude. So grateful for that guy just being like, oh, you've got to listen to this record. Like, that's just, it might sound like it happened all the time from the way we talk about it on the show. I feel like it was very rare that someone like stuck their neck out to get me to listen to something. I don't know. It's a very vulnerable position recommending an album with such high praise for it. Cause what if they hate it and they think you're an idiot for liking this stuff? You know, I mean, that stuff mattered sophomore year of high school. But yeah, this song is just so killer.
Speaks to Aaron's character, though.
Oh, he doesn't give a shit what anyone thinks. That's how it seems.
But he's
anyway.
also pure as the driven snow. He's just like, I believe that this is a good record.
And it was.
It wouldn't be hurt if you disagreed. You know, he'd be like, that's okay, man. I don't know.
We're all just
pure
trying
as
our
the
best.
Driven fucking snow. So you have one more, or?
I have 8, so I'm picking 8 right now.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
okay.
one more. This is a Sam Cray band, actually. And again, I'm listening to this in 2007, so I'm a year behind.
I don't know if people are drinking when they hear a Sherpa, but if they are, this is not a good episode for you. If I had to guess.
Yeah, Sam Cray is the guy who would probably at the same time recommend to me The Rocket Summer, Boys Like Girls, All Time Low, Mayday Parade, May. I mean, just so many killer bands just gave me hundreds of hours to listen to. But he, I think he might have said something like, yeah, this band Boys Like Girls, they have this song called The Great Escape. And it's just, we're talking about freedom. This is like the ultimate ode to freedom song that I can think of in the genre. It reminds me, of playing RuneScape, which I enjoyed, but was usually the activity when I felt totally isolated and powerless. So it was like I needed some kind of antidote to whatever the was happening in my life at the time. But yeah, The Great Escape by Boys Like Girls, we did an episode on it. There's so much spaghetti, and I think this is an Alan Ferguson video who we're really hoping to have on the show at some point. It's just a really good song. I mean, this is a fun album. I think Boys Like Girls, people, I don't know, they don't like the name. This is pretty neon, but they wrote a very good album. And this is obviously the hit single. This is the one even Mr. Bischoff was talking about in a junior year lit class, whatever. Just, it makes me feel the most 16 years old I could ever feel.
That's a really good way to put it.
Right. All right, so you have 8 and 9.
Important picks, value picks. Let's see if we can get back on the right course here. Give me Cursive Curves.
Oh shit!
This was the year on Dress Down Days where people started wearing neon shirts.
Yep.
So that must mean the 2 bands we just referenced were bands in making music.
Wow.
We did an episode, weird goth prom video, but I enjoyed it. And Give Me Here, in parentheses, In Your Arms by Hellogoodbye, a great in parentheses song title song. And we did an episode on that as well.
Is that 2005 though?
Oh, good question.
Because it says it was released in 2005, but it was recorded in 2006. I don't know how that happens. No, 2006. God damn it, because that was on my list too, but I saw that it was released in 2005 and I took it off. So I'll give it to you.
It's a little tough.
I'll give it to you.
Thanks. I appreciate that, though I'm fairly certain it was released in 2006, so it doesn't feel like a favor. But I'm glad we're on the same page.
Oh my God.
Yes, I'd say I owe you one, but I'm not so sure. But yes, no. Yeah, we did. Hellogoodbye was one of those, I don't want to say electronica, but one of those like, hey, it's the 2000s, the iPod, iMac, iGeneration, as MC Lars might say. Right. Computers, right? Here's some music that has computer sounds in them. But also is about being a a nerdy guy longing for a girl. It's like, I love those songs. There's so many types of them. And that's all I listen to at the moment. But this one has computer sounds. I'll give it a shot. Cursive Curves wasn't hugely on my radar, but seems to be one of those, if I was a YouTuber 4 years ago, or maybe even 9 years ago, and I was making songs you listened to in 2006 mashup, Cursive Curves would at least have like 5 seconds of that music video in that video to remind people, like, oh my God, you remember that? Because the hair was pretty redonk and the lyrics were pretty redonk. I don't know. I think what I'm learning is like, I don't know if I'd go back to 2006 if time travel was invented. I definitely wouldn't, actually, is what I'm learning here today. So I'm going to pick those songs and just keep this thing moving.
Is that the episode that we did for Hellogoodbye? Yeah. That's
we've done a lot
video.
Of these.
Yeah.
This is the first year draft where I felt like I had a better grasp on what was happening at the time.
Yes. Yeah.
We've covered some of this ground, so I like placing these items a little better. Again, red jumpsuit, not super on the radar, but I'm really glad we got to take a glimpse into Hellogoodbye, which, like, you picture these total goofball nerds, but it's just another handsome guy. Like, I don't know. The hair was weird and everything was weird, but it's just, I don't know. I'm just like, oh, that's just a handsome guy. Okay.
Yeah, there's it was a wild year. I don't think I would go back either. I think if I could pick a year to drop in on for an hour.
Yeah, if you had to go back to one of the four.
2007, because I think when Riot came out, shit was like on a different level for a minute. So I think maybe
you're saying 2007 might be the more, I don't know. This is, 06. I'm looking at this list and I think as we alluded to earlier, I'm not listening to this stuff with a lot of others. So like, yeah. Very high schooly, very, do I have another one? Did I just, no I picked two. And then I have a 10th coming after you go, right?
So I mentioned that I was really getting into post-hardcore this year. So my 9 and 10 is going to be a swift departure from where we have been this whole time. Norma Jean put out the album Redeemer, and the song Blueprints for Future Homes was one of my favorites. This reminds me of one year I did the robotics team with Ryan Zimmerman, who ended up being my college roommate when we moved to the DC area. And I think we were kind of interested, but we were intimidated by how absolutely over the top nerdy the rest of the people were. Like, I could just not relate to the way they spoke. I just didn't get their puns and their references because I just wasn't that into computers like they were. But Ryan and I, again, this was like we were just getting to know each other, and his test of my emo-ness was, can you recite the whole bridge to Feeling This for me? And when I did, we were just like best friends immediately. But I remember there was a week he wasn't there, and I didn't know how to build a robot, so I was just sweeping the floors for them. And I was listening to Norma Jean and just like, man, I only come here to hang out with Ryan. I don't even know why Ryan lived literally right around the corner from where we went for the robotics team. I don't know why we didn't just hang out at his house, because we just wanted to hang out. But at one point,
well, you mentioned a story on the show before where you took 4 days to even drill the appropriate direction into a piece of metal.
Yeah. So
I guess it didn't dawn on me then, but it's dawning on me now that why the were you guys in that club? Like, when he's not there, you're just sweeping. Like, I think you had mentioned before that your mom was just like imploring you to leave the house at some point.
Pretty much, yeah. So,
which that's a good mom move. Like, hey, do an extracurricular. Could, drill some stuff.
Well, and at this point, I thought I maybe wanted to be a mechanical engineer, or at least
that's cool.
Freshman year of high school. That's like why I took German in high school. I really wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and there's still like a part of me that's like, I should go get a second degree. But I don't know. I've always been kind of 30s. Like, I have this coffee grinder that I've had for years, and it broke, and I was like, I'm going to take this motherfucker apart and see how it works. And like, I'm always like very curious. Like, even this baby rattle, like there's a sound that I can't fathom what's making it. It's like, should I tear his rattle apart and see what's going on in there? But so anyway, it was like close to something I was kind of interested in, but I didn't really know anything about it. And like with the robotics team, there was no it was hard to start from the beginning because these kids have been doing it since like Lego League in middle school. So like they gave everyone in the county the prompt, or the region actually, and then they just built the robot. And it was like, we weren't at that level. So we were just kind of like doing the, menial tasks here and there. But yeah, they gave us like these aluminum brackets and like, can you go in the machine room and, look at this blueprint and drill out the holes? So we had a drill press. And of course it was a one-man job, but Ryan and I were tag teaming it because we just wanted to hang out. And there was like, we spent probably 2 days in a row drilling these holes. I mean, hundreds of them. And I remember thinking like, aluminum is pretty soft. I feel like the drill bit should go through quicker than this. And we didn't realize that this drill press had it wasn't just an on-off switch. It was like, if you clicked it to the right, it moved the normal way. And if you clicked it to the left, it drilled backwards. So this whole time, we weren't even using the cutting edge of the drill bit. We were running it backwards and then pushing down so hard that the aluminum just melted. And it was like, it should have taken one person half a day, and there were like 2 of us that spent 3 days on it. Anyways, it makes me think of Norma Jean.
There you go.
Okay, so Norma Jean, I fucking love them. Redeemer is so killer. The artwork is some kid screaming as a crow is biting his finger. Like, it's pretty funny. And then I'm going to keep it, I want to shout out someone who hit us up on Twitter recently. I'm not even sure what the dude's name is, but their podcast is Obscure History. He mentioned something about in the drum draft, he would pick In Regards to Myself by Under Oath. I'm going to go ahead and pick them as a 2006 pick because that's the album opener of Define the Great Line, and it's wake up, wake up, wake up, this is not a test, and it just slams, dude. If I'm being honest, I would have picked more songs off of Lights and Sounds and Louder Now, but in an effort to kind of diversify, these were 2 songs I was really, really loving back in the day, and I'm going to end my picks on a much different note than it started. So that's my 9 and 10.
Nice. I'm going to stay true to the stuff that was on WERG 90.5 and close with Animali by Incubus. I don't know if that counts because Incubus doesn't feel like a 2000s band, but this was a very big 2000s record, high school record for me. I think Dig was on there. It was really good. Animali rocks awesomely. I don't know if we're bending the rules too much this episode. I don't want to just like ruin the show or anything, but Animali was like something I listened to on a pretty heavy rotation deep into college and everything. A lot of songs off this album. So I'm going to pick it just to close it out. Yes. I don't know. Tweet at _reminiscent FM if Incubus doesn't count for the show. I'd believe you and listen. And then we'd re-record the show just for you, Adrian.
All right.
Just kidding, Adrian.
Dope. Well, that's 20 picks. I think that's the biggest draft we've ever done. And I still have a lot left over for the honorable mentions. So you want to go back and forth on those?
Yeah. Let's do, I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor by the Arctic Monkeys, which was another yearbook Marie recommendation that blew me away.
I remember the day you introduced me to that. We were, I don't know, it might have been Cameron driving us home on French Street, and you just kind of threw probably the cassette adapter into the car and played it. And I was like, yeah. I think this is where you and I diverged with what we were listening to at the time.
I think so. I think that's pretty apparent after going through this show. I think there's and I blame Yearbook, honestly. Yearbook is a f***ed up class.
Well, like I started getting heavier. You were getting more indie, and we're still friends because we don't have to be the same person. Anyways, if I were to pick, or you know what, give me Weekend Warriors by A Change of Pace. I remember Adam, who was in our band, his AIM screen name was Weekend Warrior with some numbers. And I remember Cameron being like, he doesn't even party, dude. like, I don't know, judging his AIM screen name and how it fits his lifestyle. I think he just really liked to change a pace.
It's probably true. Yeah, everything can be true in that anecdote, I think. Give me, and this is just because this is more for you, Lily Allen, Smile, and LDN.
Yes.
I couldn't pick it for the show, but I just remember just like not blinking watching her music videos at your house or Adam's, whoever had whatever music video channel on at the time. I just remember being not at home.
Yeah. I introduced you to Lily Allen from that weird fucking music video station.
Yeah, the one about her brother with the Ralphie, who ended up growing up in like directing movies and stuff, I guess.
What?
I think he's like a pretty famous like film guy at this point, but I don't know the details in my head off the top of my head. But I remember being a little bit breakbeat, a little bit box beat, a little bit bassy, a little bit, just like blown away. And just unironically enjoying the music as well, I think. And her cover of Keen's Somewhere Only We Know is devastating, and I love it.
Dope. Give me Redemption by Inhale Exhale. There was an album called The Lost, The Sick, The Sacred. I think this is when I was getting into Christcore, and Inhale Exhale was a lot of fun. I got to see them at the Hangout. I forget who.
Good band name. Good hardcore band name, I'd say.
Pretty dope. I love it.
Let me officially add She Moves in Her Own Way by the Kooks to the honorable mentions.
Give me the other song I would have picked off of Lights and Sounds would have been Space Travel. So I'm going to go with that one in the honorable mentions.
Give me a couple of Silverstone pickup songs I would have picked as well. Little Lovers, So Polite, and Well Thought Out Twinkles. It's a really good record. I love them so much.
Speaking of that weird music video station, You're Not Alone by Seosin off of their self-titled record.
You mean Seosin?
Seosin. I've been watching...
I'm just kidding. I've never thought that. I was shocked.
I've been watching their guitarist, Beau Burchell, who produced Moose Blood and Seosin and a lot of other stuff on Twitch lately. Just subscribe to his Twitch channel, and I bought his fucking guitar, which should be in a couple weeks. Super killer baritone guitar. Beau Burchell's signature model from Balaguer. Hyped.
Nice. Give me Bones off of Sam's Town by the Killers. Yes. I love that. I definitely like envisioning a date you're not going to go on for 7 years. One of those songs for sure.
All right. Give me Giants in the Ocean by Sky Eats Airplane. I think this is the first time I ever heard like really heavy music with like Nintendo sounds in it. It starts off and just descends into chaos. I never really got into Sky Eats Airplane, but I loved this song.
Nice. This is definitely a WERG one. Jack White, The Radio Darling. Give me Steady As She Goes by the Raconteurs. Kind of like that stolen riff from Is She Really Going Out With Him by Joe What's His Face. It's a riff in like 19 different songs, but anyway, Steady As She Goes still rocks.
Okay. You know what? Give me Picture to Burn by Taylor Swift. Her self-titled debut album came out this year, and this is such a country pop rock hit that I love. Such a good like attitude to it when she was still trying to be a little country Americana darling, and I really want to do a cover of this song. It doesn't fit the show at all, obviously, but
that's all right.
Gotta say it.
It does fit the show because you are one of the hosts. So
I can do what I want. Host your own show, god damn it.
Here's one that's going to make us a little frustrated. Stolen by Dashboard came out this year.
Oh, God. Sure. That's a good one. Again, not the show, but we got to shout out friend of the pod, John fucking Mayer, put out Gravity this year.
Talk about danger. Danger. Just songs you don't with anymore. We should do the songs you don't with anymore draft. Now that I realize how many of them there are.
Yeah.
Or songs that not that you don't, but you can't,
Yeah. I don't know if anyone missed it, but let me shout ourselves out. We ended up in John Mayer's Instagram stories on the day of his album release, I think. So, thanks to Pat's little meme. So he's top of mind right now. So yeah.
He is. And
Good
we
album.
said it on a previous episode, but we're still pretty smitten, I think.
Oh, did we?
It's fair to say.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm still pumped about it. If you're still listening, we're only taking 7 seconds of your time to still be excited. We're allowed to be excited after sweeping through our nasty nostalgia of sadness for 55 minutes.
Right.
Give me Dig by Incubus. Man, I was really into Incubus this year. I think I blame WERG in part for exposing me to a lot of this stuff.
Oh. Okay, give me Move Along by the All American Rejects.
Damn. We went from disrespecting All Time Low to only disrespecting All American Rejects in a matter of seconds.
Wait, hold
Jesus.
on. No, wait, that came out in 2005. F me. Okay, never mind. F All American Rejects. Give me I'm in Love with a Stripper by T-Pain.
Yeah, sure. Who can sing? The man has pipes, and the world should come to terms with it. I hope you're in a good place, T-Pain.
First of all, I love that dude. If anyone out there has a Netflix subscription, there is a docuseries called This Is Pop. They did an episode on Auto-Tune that heavily featured T-Pain. Really good docuseries.
Dome. Give me, these are my last two are two WERG songs, but O Valencia, Decemberists, and Satellite by Guster or Gooster. I never bothered to ask. But not favorites, but on the radar and on the iPod.
Cool beans. I'll cap it off with Hey There Delilah and Our Time Now by the Plain White Tees.
I think you're wrong. We would have picked Hey There Delilah.
Let me furiously type away.
I know. I only am strong about this because I Googled it today as well.
Really? Wait, hold on.
Hey There Delilah was 05, I think.
Google, come on. What are you doing, bud? Released May 9th, 2006.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. All That We Needed or Every Second Counts?
All That We Needed.
All That We Needed
Wait.
was
No, that says 2005.
Every Second Counts. Hey, wow. Apologies to the Plain White Tees and everyone who listens to the show. We should have picked it.
Oh, Hey There Delilah was
released 06. Yeah, released 06, I guess.
Well,
there you go.
If you look at All That We Needed, that was in 2005, which also featured Hey There Delilah. I think one might have been the acoustic version. The other might have been the full instrumental.
Or they added the violins or whatever.
I'm getting conflicting information on this, but there is a version.
Well, if we picked the second album version of No It Isn't, then there's no rules anyway. That's my bad. So, okay. Yeah, the MySpace song era, the ultimate MySpace song, we didn't even think to mention until the final few minutes. Shame on us.
You know what? Let me see.
Thoughts on bands releasing a single again when the album's out. The songs made them famous, like Maggie Rogers having Alaska on the album after it had made her famous for a full year and a half already.
It's interesting. Chunk, No Captain Chunk just did that. And I mean, sure, whatever.
With Bitter?
No, with Blame It on This Song, which was their second single from this record. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fine. I don't mind getting a second chance. It better be a fucking good song. Or do it differently. But yeah, sure.
I'm going to say I'm not a huge fan of doing
Really?
That. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. I don't know why. It's just kind of let that be what it was. It'd be as if All Time Low ended up putting songs from Put Up or Shut Up onto So Wrong It's Right. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Which I would have welcomed at the time. Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, the songs are good and the people aren't bad people for doing it. Get into the industry and by any means necessary, and the songs are good. But anyway, I'm just kind of oh man, I would have loved to hear a different song you've written because I like you as an artist. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel
Song of the week. I think we have the same one, and it's by Angels and Airwaves. I don't want to waste anybody's time here.
Oh no, give it to me. It's all you.
I don't know the name of it, but it's my favorite right now.
It's
Out of My Mind.
Maybe. Very good though.
Losing My Mind. Losing my mind.
There you go.
You texted me a link to the music video the other day, and it's been on repeat ever since.
It's a great video. It's a good song too. Really, really good.
He kind of whisper. I don't want to say raps, but it's more rhythmic than he's ever been.
Yeah.
It's fun to remain surprised by Tom DeLonge every now and again.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
and he
fun.
kind of takes a victory lap about calling the alien thing.
He does, yeah.
Which is fun. So,
yeah, that verse is awesome. I am gonna just be all about Gone Are the Good Days for like a while. The new Chunk album. It is a front to backer for me. I'm gonna go with Marigold, song 4 off the record. Really pretty love song. It has a really cool bridge, the way it slams into the last chorus. Good track, man. I fucking love this album.
And if you missed the interview, go listen to it. It was a good get. It was a fun get. I'm glad he took the time.
Me too, man. That was like one of the most fun 2 hours of my life. Just getting to like...
Yeah, go listen to it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Scream at him about how much I love the song Bitter. I can't believe how much he let me talk. I talked way more than I should have. But it's
makes the 2020s riff draft for sure.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah.
If we ever get there, which who knows?
Well, cool. Yeah. Hit us up on Twitter at _reminiscentfm. Let us know what the your 5 or 10 or however many picks from 2006 would be. I think Adrian plays where he also tries to not pick songs that we picked, which is insanity to me. If you want to,
still does really well.
I know. Way cooler than we are for sure. But yeah, hit us up.
But we knew that, and we're willing to admit it in a big way.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We're going to head to the post show for our Patreon supporters, and we love you all, and we'll talk to you next week. Love you, dude.
Love you, man.
Bye. Thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode. As you know, the best part of these drafts is when you hit us up on Twitter with your own lists. You can check us out at _reminiscentfm on Twitter. Let us know what songs would have made your 2006 mixtape draft. Also, make sure to check out the playlist on Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music, where you can stream our 20 picks for our favorite songs of the year 2006. Please tell a friend about this show, and let's keep this emo community growing. We love you all so much, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.